This week, one of the most senior psychiatrists in Victoria resigned from the Equal Opportunity Commission after it was revealed he lobbied against gay marriage, calling it bad for the nation's health and children. Despite condemnation from the Australian Medical Association, the Baillieu government supports Professor Kuruvilla-George's right to make the comments, and he remains Victoria's Deputy Chief Psychiatrist. But what effect did the controversy have on Victoria's same-sex parents and their children? I spent the morning with one Melbourne family to try and find out.
Make sure the label's at the back. Okay.
It's a typical weekday morning at this inner Melbourne household. Brett Jenkin and Doug Weller are getting their 5-year-old twins, Leah and Daniel, ready to go to school.
All right, Leah, words, sweetheart. We've got to do our words before school. Come on, chop chop.
The couple work in communications. Doug Weller is a former ABC journalist, and until now they've never spoken publicly about their family. The twins were conceived through a surrogate mother in America.
We sat in this lounge room night after night after night discussing it. Should we be doing this? Is this the right thing? Will we be able to bring up a child if we become pregnant with one child? Or what if we had twins? Wouldn't that be amazing? And we discussed it, I don't know, for more than 12 months. We just kept chatting about it and talking about it and never stopped.
And we've seen this morning it's quite a handful to have these twins.
5-year-old twins in any household is, can be, challenging but rewarding.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good fun.
They're great kids, but they can be very character building.
Yes.
And anybody who has had twins would know what we mean.
Yeah.
And what did you make of the comments this week that came from the group Doctors for the Family and their submission to the Senate inquiry, which included a signature from Victoria's Chief Deputy Psychiatrist?
Sadness, concern. These negative messages flow into the community. What does that mean for our families like ours, families that don't fit into, their precise view of a family? Concern for our children. What happens when our children are old enough to understand these sort of comments and these sort of messages? What does that mean for us?
Did this controversy register with the children at all?
No, they're too young to sort of be impacted by this at the moment. But if they were older and they were listening to these comments, absolutely it could impact on them. And these comments really just promote discrimination in the community.
In the submission, I quote, "The evidence is clear that children who grow up in a family with a mother and a father do better than children who don't."
What evidence? Where did the evidence come from? Who funded the evidence? Who funded the research? You can conduct research any way you like. You can ask a series of negative questions, get a negative outcome.
There's also research that suggests that children from alternative families actually do as well as children from in traditional families.
We will try to use situations like this as a positive in our family, and we'll say to our children that you need to accept everybody, that you need to embrace diversity. And the messages that we will give our children over and over is that bigotry is bad, discrimination is bad, diversity is good.
Professor Kuruvilla-George, who was a signatory to this submission, has resigned from the Equal Opportunity Commission, but he remains to be Victoria's Chief Deputy Psychiatrist. Is that acceptable to you?
Oh, that's an issue for them and the people that employ this person. He was part of an equal opportunity board. How can you be part of an equal opportunity board when you don't embrace equal opportunity?
What do you think of the state government's reaction, which was to say that he had the right to make those comments in a private capacity?
Well, it's really disappointing. There's a Victorian family statement which in the first paragraph talks about embracing same-sex couples and their families. Yet you have this response from the state government.
The statement says that families are the cornerstone of our community and includes all sorts of families, and it stipulates, single-parent families, same-sex families, and there's been nothing from the government that's come out and actually supported their own statement after these comments.
Quite
from
contradictory.
Dr.
They
George
supported this professor. Well, what do they support? Do they support this statement on families, or do they support people like this professor and these doctors? Where do they stand on it?
Do you ever consider that there isn't a mother in your children's lives, and how do you deal with that?
Well, of course there isn't a mother in our children's lives. I mean, that's the fact that there is no mother. But as far as we're concerned, a child deserves to have at least one loving parent in a safe and caring home. If they've got two loving and caring parents, well, then that's just fantastic. But I think this notion that it has to be a mother and a father, and I think the Doctors for Family statement says that, you know, it should be a biological mother and father. Well, you know, that's just ridiculous. I mean, there are so many different types of families in our community that I think would find that statement quite offensive.
I mean, what about every other family? What about families where there's one mum, one dad, where the grandparents raise the children, where the uncle and auntie raises the children, where a carer raises the children? What about them? I mean, this isn't only an attack on us and our sort of family. This is an attack on all the families that don't fit into their view of a family. I mean, it's just a bizarre, ridiculous statement.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we did seek to interview the Premier, Ted Baillieu, this week. Once again, he's declined. That's 6 weeks in a row.